patricide. Patricide. You know, when you say it like that, you know, you can kind of make it sound a little bit funky, but there's nothing really funky about it, because what is patricide? Well, that's really, really horrible thing, actually. You see, patricide is the act of killing one's parents. You know, that's not really a good thing. What would have to happen for a child to feel like they need to kill their parents and then actually kill parents? The fuck is going on? Because if there isn't anything really going on at all, they do that, then you know you got a psychopath or a patricide. It's not to say that there are people out there that have masqueraded as parents that need the death penalty, but just without the patricide bit. Anyways, the thing about patricide is that when it is done by the young, by say the son or the daughter, what makes it so easy for the cops to bust them usually comes from the number one thing that screws up even the adult crimes. That would be little brains, big mouths. Now let's go meet those little brains and big mouths and this episode, The Plan. This one takes place a while back in a place called where a father and son were living. And the son was this guy, Jason McClennan. And, you know, he wasn't too happy with his dad in this living situation, as he didn't like his dad breathing. And apparently that reason was that he didn't like how his dad had treated his mum while she was dying in hospital, and that his old man got a new wahine, and that the new wahine didn't like Jason either. Now, when you look at that, that's all not very fucking nice at all. But the word of advice would have been to move away and become estranged and not estrangled. But unfortunately, that advice wasn't given to Jenius here. So our Jenius here come up with an idea, and that idea was he wanted to murder his father. So now Jenius here put a plan together. And the first part of that plan goes to school and asks his whole school if anyone would kill his dad for him, and he'll pay them some money as long as they didn't tell anyone. And the whole school said, "What? Kill your dad? Why? Is he touching you or punching you or something?" And Jenius goes, "Nah, I just hate him. I want him dead." And everyone says, "Nah, mate, what's wrong with you? Kill your dad for a couple of bucks? What are you, genius?" And Jason goes, "Okay, well, what if I sweeten the deal? How about I throw in, if you kill my dad, you can watch me take a shower?" And the whole school was like, "What did he say? Take a shower? What are you, a pervert? What a freak. That's even worse, you perv." And the whole school turned around and started walking away. And from the very back of this crowd, someone yelled out, "I'll do it! I'll do it!" And out of that crowd of all of those kids stepped this clown. And clown's name was Matt Mollier. So Jenius now has a clown. And the both of them got to plotting to come up with a plan, a J for Jenius plan, on how they were going to murder Jason's dad, Mr. McClennan, and get away with it. How they are going to beat not just the homicide detectives, but all the guys in the white cloaks and the green and the blue, a plan that would beat all of the people who make a living identifying and dismantling the crimes, evidence and actions of which they find inside J for Jenius plans. And this is the J for Jenius plan that the genius and the clown plotted. And this is how it went. See, Jenius goes to clown, "Matt, I'm going to shoot the old man, but I don't have a gun." And clown goes, "Well, I do. It's a 22. You can borrow it, but I want it back." And Jenius goes, "Do you? Oh, mate, I'm taking a long shower." And clown smiled back at Jenius. So Jenius then goes, "What I'm going to do is going to load the gun with 4 different types of 22 ammo." And clown goes, "Why?" And Jenius says to clown, "Because I want to make it look like there were at least four people involved in the shooting of my father." And clown goes, "Oh, Jason, that's genius." And Jenius says, "Yeah, I know." Then clown goes, "But why would there be 4 people in your home, and why would they all shoot your dad?" And Jenius goes, "Oh, that's the genius part of my plan, Matt. You see, after I shoot my dad, I'm going to take his wallet and cash and his watch. And I'm doing this because I'm going to make it look like a burglary gone wrong." And the old man heard some burglars downstairs and came down the stairs and confronted them. And they all pulled out their 22s and shot him and stole the stuff and took off. And clown goes, "Oh, bro, that makes perfect sense. I'll take a step back here for a second, okay? And let my subscribers, viewers and members know that at this time, we would probably apply the chance over luck hypothesis that we use in High Court defence when looking at the actions within an event. But we are not doing so here, because I haven't taught you that yet, but I am at some stage finally going to make that episode with Darling and teach you all about it. So make sure you subscribe if you're new and hit the bell icon to full, as you most likely will miss my episodes if you don't, because that's another fucking story about YouTube. Anyways, please make sure you do, as a chance over luck hypothesis will make you smarter than most others when it comes to crime in the DC universe. Anyways, let's get back to the creation of this J for Genius plan. Next, now pay attention, Matt, as this is very important, Jason said to Matt. After we shoot him, we're going to pick up all of the casings from the bullets I fire so that they can't match back to your gun since you want it back. But just to make sure that you are going to get a piece of wire, and when you get home, you're going to scratch the inside of the barrel real good so they can't tell that the slugs that they pull out of the old man can't be matched to your gun that you like so much. And Clown goes, "It's sentimental." And Genius yells at Clown, "It's fucking a gun, Matt." And Clown goes, "You don't have to yell, Jason." And Jason goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, Matt." And Clown goes, "Oh, that's okay, Jason. Let's carry on." So Genius goes to Clown, "Do you have 4 pairs of boots and don't want any more?" And Clown goes, "No, I only have 1. Why?" And Genius goes, "Damn, okay, well, we'll just use 1, right? Since it's been snowing and there is snow on the ground, you are going to get a pair of boots and walk around outside, and this is very important, Matt." And Clown says to Jason, "Why?" And Genius goes, "This is why it's important. The cops will match mine and your footprints, as we can say that we hung out earlier in the day. And the third pair does this. It sends the cop off on a wild goose chase. But even better than that, and much more importantly, if for some reason it all goes tits up, Maddie, then it burns the cops and the prosecution in court by giving reasonable doubt to a jury that there may have been a third person involved, and they're the ones that pulled the trigger. And that's why we're doing that." And Clown goes, "I have no idea what you just said, Jason, but I like the way your lips move." And Genius goes, "Thanks, Matt." Next, I'm going to take a shower and watch all of the gun residue and blood off me. I'll be wearing gloves when I do, but you know, Matt, it's better to be safe than sorry. And then you are going to put the bloody clothes, the gloves, the wallet, the cash, and the casing shells all into that evidence bag, and then you're going to leave. And Clown says, "Wait a second. What about viewing you in the shower?" And Genius goes, "Oh, yeah, you can do that." And Clown says, "Oh, good. Now, let me carry on, Matt. As I was saying, you're going to take the bag to a place where nobody would ever go and bury it deep where nobody will find it. Then you're going to go home and scrape up that barrel. And as you're doing that, I'm going to be ringing the cops and telling them that I just walked in and found my daddy dead." Ladies and gentlemen, and all of those in between, that is their J for Genius plan in a nutty, shitty shell. That is the plan for the psycho genius and a really dumb clown to murder Genius's dad and beat the cops and the science of CSI. Now, on the surface, they put a lot of thought into it. So where, in this J for Genius plan of patricide, did it all go terribly fucking wrong? And like a very pale-looking Irishman once said, "Let's fucking go." So, late in the night in question, the genius and the clown put their genius plan into action. Clown brought over his .22 rifle to Genius's place, where Genius was waiting. Genius loaded the .22 with those 4 different types of ammo, and then Clown put on those little booties and started walking around the back garden, while Genius went up and pushed the doorbell so as to wake his dad up. And his dad did wake up and came down the stairs to see who was at the door. And as he walked down the stairs, Genius in the shadows shot him a few times, so as his dad fell to the floor. But his dad wasn't dead. In fact, this is what makes Genius here a psychopath, and one of the very reasons why he is an episode on this channel with the mostest. And that's because, you see, once his dad had hit the ground, Genius here stepped out of the shadows and walked up to his dad, and he wasn't wearing a mask, as he wanted his dad to stop being confused and in shock about who the fuck was shooting him and know exactly who it was that was murdering him. And we know this, that psycho here raised the barrel of the gun to his dad's face and pulled the trigger. And we know this because you see his dad had a hole in his hand, and that hole, well, it had burn marks all around it from the barrel of the gun. And that is what gives us the ability to say that Jenius here really is a fucking psychopath. And it also gives the judge in the court the ability to say, oh yeah, by the way, Jenius, that's without parole. Now, back to the plan. Post-mortem kicks into gear, and Jenius here and Clown, who's in by now without the booties on, are picking up all of the casings. And then he goes, scoot, and Jason goes, well, make sure you come up. And then Jenius here jumps in the shower. And Matt turns up. So he starts scrubbing all the fucking residue and all that shit off him. And Clown here watches him for ages and ages. And then, Jason finishes up the shower and he gets out and starts drying himself. And then Clown then took his rifle, clothes and gloves and the wallet and the cash and drove off to bury them, to bury that evidence bag where nobody would go. Then he's going to go home, which he does, and scratches up the inside of the barrel. Right about now, everything is going to that plan. Now, all they have to do is make the phone call, and that would be this.
I need help. My dad's just been shot. I just came home and he's on the ground. I don't know. I need an ambulance.
Inside the house?
Yeah, he's on the ground.
Do you know who did this to him?
No, I just came home.
So the coppers, they go get Jenius and they bring him on down to the station for some of that cop chat. So first up, what the cops want to know is why Jenius here is so very lucky that he wasn't where he was meant to be, and that was at home, when at least 4 burglars, probably Mexicans, that all had guns, all 22s, had shot the shit out of his dad. And Jenius here sticks to the plan, which is story number 1, which him and Clown have put together. That he was just cruising around with Clown in his car, smoking cigs, chatting each other up.
Hey Jason, how are you doing? I'm JJ, Officer Brovald.
Detective JJ Brovald asks Jason about the last few hours leading up to his father's murder.
Okay, if I ask you some questions? Who do you typically hang out with? I mean, who would have been coming and going from your house?
You probably know Matt Mollier. We're gonna talk about sneaking out tonight to go by state and see if there's any girls and
Okay.
go get some cigarettes and stuff.
Okay.
We cruised down Vision, a couple of the streets. Bought some cigarettes and go for it at about 11. I came up the stairs, looked over and heard the dog. I saw my dad and I just kind of stood there for a moment.
What was your first thought? What did you think had happened?
I thought maybe he fell, but then, he was way too much. And he wouldn't be bleeding like that if he fell down the stairs and was still breathing.
Okay.
I figured someone shot him or stabbed him.
Are there valuables inside the house that somebody would want to have access to or want to get in for?
I've never seen him with less than like $1,000 in his pocket.
Okay, so he usually has $1,000 cash in his pocket?
Yeah, and he's got a couple of watches, I guess. But
Jason, do you know who was responsible for this?
it had to be some just random
So
person.
the coppers go and they go get Clown and check out what Jenius has told them. And Clown said that they were cruising around and smoking cigs and chatting each other up. And
you've snuck out with Jason before?
Yep.
Purpose for that is what?
We're around, smoke some cigarettes, smoke some pot, no gas, bought some cigarettes, so then we just went and cruised around on Division for a while.
Buying cigarettes, you cruise Division?
Yeah, I cruised down Division, a couple of the streets, bought some cigarettes, and go for it about.
the coppers think, hey, that's exactly the same as what Jenius, little prick, said next door. It's almost like it's been rehearsed. And the cops start thinking, hey, maybe little prick is a J for Jenius. So the coppers, they start thinking that this little prick might have blown his old man away, and now they just have to make him do a Humpty and crack him. And to heat this egg, they have to make his story number one change somehow. So first up, what they do is they swab Jenius's hands.
More than anything, this is just to rule you out as possibly having a weapon at any time.
And they ask Jenius if he's fired a gun recently, and Jenius says no. Secondly, the coppers lie to Jenius and tell him that they don't think it was a burg by the Mexicans, as nothing was stolen. And they do this because there's no way that Jenius here would know that his dad's wallet was stolen. So they do this to see if Jenius here would say something like this.
I was talking with some people down at the crime scene. Why didn't they take anything?
How do you know what got taken?
Nothing.
Nothing got taken. Did you guys find his watch or his wallet?
Wallet, watch, laptop. Yeah, it's right on the table there.
So what the coppers do next, to have some more fun and get Jenius here to change the story, the cops start implying that the gloves and the shower didn't work so well, and it seems like maybe that the white cloaks might have found some gunshot residue. And what do you know? That, haven't been shooting any guns, turns into a...
It's important for me to understand why there would be any gunshot residue on your skin or anything like that.
Did this come back positive or something?
I'm just, again, asking you, why there would be on your hands. When's the last time you would have fired a weapon of any kind?
Earlier this week at Ben's house, we were shooting a sign across the street from his house. Were like firecrackers or anything cause that?
On your hands?
Yeah.
When did you handle firecrackers?
Sunday.
No.
Maybe he said, I want to make sure I tell you the right time.
So now the coppers go, oh, this guy's a genius. Hell, he might even be a DC. And what they do is they figure out, geez, he really dislikes adults. So he's going to be a hard nut to crack as a Humpty in an egg. So what they do is they go, right, let's go get that clown fella. And they hit him up with what Jenius said about shooting of the guns at his place. And because this is an addition to the story that Clown doesn't know, and that Clown watched Jenius wash himself so thoroughly, he said,
me and Jason are never running shotguns together now.
So now the coppers know, oh my God, we've got a genius and it seems to be a clown. But they have fuck all to go by, as they can't directly link any evidence to Jenius or the clown, so they let the clown go and then take the only piece of evidence they found at the murder site. Because you see, that plan, like most plan, is only as good if each part of the plan is executed and executed correctly. And the start of stage B of that plan post-mortem was to pick up all the casings from the bullets that were fired. And Jenius, as well as the clown, didn't count the number of times Jenius fired the gun. So when it came to picking up the casings, they picked up all 6. Where they should have picked up all 7. So the cops go to the clown's place as he is the 22, and they take his gun and compare it to the casings they found. And what do you know? Their plan worked, and the casings didn't match. Genius! Oh no, wait a minute. Genius. And why? Well, that's because Clown and Jenius have never heard of what's called a boroscope, like the ones that the cops have when they stick it down the barrel of Clown's gun. And what do you know? They find that someone's been scratching the shit out of this barrel. But still, the Genius and the Clown's plan holds. And hold it does, even in the face of the cops putting in the face of the Genius that they know he's a goddamn DC.
And here's what I think. I think that there's an issue between you and your dad, and I know what that is.
I think when I did this, you're crazy. We might have had fights, but I mean, it's my dad. That's up. But I loved my dad. Even if I didn't love my dad, even if I hated his guts, I still see TV, I still see all that stuff. You don't really get away with anything. I'm not an idiot. I might not be great at school, I might not pass, but I'm not a moron.
You might be surprised who we've talked to today.
Who'd you talk to? Surprise me.
What's that?
Surprise me, who'd you talk to? You guys don't have a whole life, so quit trying to say I did this.
You see, Jenius here knows that the cops ain't got squat as the evidence, because Clown has played his part and thrown that evidence somewhere where the cops won't find it. And the cops need it for that link. Even the shoe prints in the snow. You can see the cops have got a machine like a jizz doctor, as DB would say, except it's for shoes and not DNA. So they know the size and the make, but not the shoe itself, as Clown has hidden that very well indeed. So they have nothing to goddamn go on. And it seems that the goddamn Jeniuses Plan seems to be holding. But remember, as I said at the start, small brains, big mouths. Because you see, after the cops let Clown go, Clown went straight to school and started doing that thing that kids do when they're really boring and want to be cool, and that would be skite. Yeah, the thing about having a plan is either anyone can know about it or no one can know about it. And this one, well, it's one of those latters. And this is what fails most kids that commit patricide, is that they may be smart, but smart doesn't mean wise. So Clown's at school, being the centre of attention, trying to get another shower to look at, when one of those school kids thought, that's fucking horrible. You're a fucking murderer, and tells her dad. And her dad rings the cops, and the coppers go to school. And this is where they find out that half of the fucking school has been asked if they would kill Jenius's father for a couple of bucks and something to do about a shower. And that not one of those kids ever asked or ever said anything to an adult. It was the school's best kept secret. But now, wow, now that secret's out. And they go get Clownsy one last time and sit Clown down and say, Clown, murder one is life, murder two isn't. And Clown's frown didn't turn upside down because Clown said this.
How are you?
Yep.
Okay.
What do you guys all got?
You and I need to...
If you want to shorten it up, I'll throw in my story right now. If you want to shorten it up, I'll throw in my story right now.
And the gold thing is, what makes Clown as a clown, and that he is so very young, is that he actually thinks this, that since he didn't pull the trigger, he's culpable, but not for an awful lot. And that just shows you that small brain part. Geniuses. Nope, just a fucking clown.
You understand that that's why you're here, is that to some extent?
Yeah, to some extent I am involved. Like, he just called me up that night. I knew I had a 22.
Okay.
And he told me to bring the 22.
What do you want you to do?
He wants me to kill his dad. I'm like, no, I'm like, I'm not going to do that. He tried to talk me into going and killing him because they knew he'd be the top suspect, but I couldn't do it, so I told him I was going to have anything to do with it. And then he was just like, okay, fine. He took the gun from me and he said, just go wait out in the car.
How about the gun? Did you do anything to the gun to try to alter it? You stuck an Allen wrench?
Well, because he told me that pretty much I want to save my ass. I had to do something with the barrel.
Did you see it?
Nope, I didn't see anything. He told me to go up to the car. All I kind of heard was like a popping noise one time, but like I didn't hear.
So Clowny here says to the cops, hey, I'll take you to the place where no one would go and give you the evidence you need. So the cop and the clown jump into a car and they drive out to Clown's place, and Clown walks across his lawn to his fence and then points and says, there it is all over there. So now the cat is just like the evidence, and it's up to that thing called out of the bag. And oh, what a cat it is. Because here's the wallet, the cash, the casings, Jason's bloody clothes, but most importantly, the gloves. As on the outside of those gloves were Jason's dad's blood and gunshot residue. And on the inside, well, that was Genius's DNA. And that just leaves the extra set of boots walking around. It is also the last gasp of air, and in that defense that DC would have when pleading not guilty at trial and trying to get that reasonable doubt. And that air is sucked out by that vacuum, and that vacuum looks an awful lot like a pair of oversized boots. That clown who should have never given that evidence to the cops until it was time to cut that deal. That's why small brains with young'uns is so goddamn funny. And that's why in J for Genius Plans, if there's a clown and a genius, it always ends up going tits up. So with that tits up, how did this all end up? Well, Clown is a clown and not a DC, as he put his hand up and said that this Jenius Plan was all of them, and the judge gave him 30. 30 years, all because DC Genius Jason here hated his old man. Clown gives up his life. Unbelievable. And DC, well, just like most, if not all DCs, he says the evidence isn't enough and everything's just a coincidence. And if the jury doesn't believe that, then hopefully part B of his J for Genius plan for his defense will work. And he says that he's the actual victim and that his dad, Mr. McClennan, used to beat him and bash him and do all this horrible shit. And it was just so happened that all of that was DC's best kept secret, because he never told anyone, and that includes the clown. Never, ever. And that's why DCs are DCs. And that judge said, welcome to the place where you're going to die, and gave him life, and says that hole, psycho, that hole gives you no parole. So, what would the takeaway be from this horribly stupid story about patricide? And, well, I think that would be this. And that would be that if a friend of yours comes up to you and asks you to help them kill their parent, and if you do, that you'll get heaps of money and you could even watch them take a shower, then you need to tell your friend with all sincerity that you have that if things are that bad at home, then they should move away. That murdering is wrong, especially when it comes to patricide, and the chance of getting away with it from beating the homicide squad detectives and all of the signs of CSI and the white cloaks and the blue and the green, and that when found guilty, that they will probably spend the rest of their life in prison and waste away and miss out on all of the things that they could have done. And on top of all of that, they might be a perv. Welcome to my channel. Welcome. And if you, if this is the first time ever that you've ever seen my shit, then to you, I say, welcome to the channel that fucking YouTube hates. That YouTube fucking hates.
Sometimes I still wake up in the morning and look out the bars and just go, wow. You know, I still can't believe that I'm here in prison. I still can't believe that the decision I made to put myself here.
And now, not so ages ago, now is Clown.
It was in 11th grade when I was 17 years old. I was making decisions that were taking me in a bad direction.
Matt. Clown, there is no need to be forgiven. Clown. Because you see, there's nothing wrong with being gay. There's nothing wrong with being gay. To the channel they hate the mostest. I'll see all you guys, all my guys, in the next episode. Go, keep tape.